So we got the 76 in here now. We moved in last month and started some work on it. Had to do some inspecting and some cleaning off before they got to the main stuff here. As you remember, the smoke box is missing. It's probably going to have to get a new one because the one that came with it and the smokestack included were pretty well shot. But this part here is the throttle assembly, where it's the header actually on the for the superheaters. Not sure if we'll be re-superheating it when it gets running, but we're still a ways off on it, as you can see. We don't want to have to take the boiler off of it yet, so they're just cleaning it off and priming it as it is. Actually, I cleaned it off and put some rust protector on it, and now this week they're finally starting to primer it. So this is all an Explorer group project, and that's both boys and girls, although it's part of the Boy Scouts. They're running it, but it's our own group. It's Explorer Post 1225, as you can see on the toolbox back here, and we're calling it Project 76, and they're going to be raising the money for it themselves, and it's a good way for kids to get involved. It's mostly pre-teens, teens, young adults, all starting to get their hands dirty on this thing and starting to make it come together. So a lot of stuff to do here. It's the main focus. We got another project over here besides 1225. That's the speeder car that we got donated to us a while ago. It ran for the U.S. Army, and it was built in 1983 by Placer American, and they've done a pretty good job. It's not the Explorers, it's a couple of volunteers here, the Snows, so we call it the Snowmobile, and they're doing pretty well on it. They're gonna repaint. They were gonna clean it up, and they're gonna repaint it and renumber it. So it will be something different. But yeah, it's gonna be. I think they're gonna make it yellow with black lettering on it, like SRI stuff, our logo, and it's gonna be looking pretty good here. They've cleaned it all up pretty well. Now they're gonna remove the paint on it. They removed the floorboards here to work on it some more, and they got all the controls going. And he tried to turn it over. I'm not sure if he got it running again, but they spent all winter trying to get it running. They were successful, so they've cleaned it up pretty good. They cleaned up the windshield and did the wiper blades, got all the lights running. They replaced the batteries on it, the fuel lines, everything. So it runs better now, but it doesn't start very well when it's cold out, and it was pretty cold a while ago in here when he was trying to start that. Anyway, back to the 76 here. As you can see, they've, based on my video from last summer, they removed the copper lines leading here to the steam chest, and put up some wood boards up here to work on. So it's moving right along. So they're trying to get work done under here so that way they can clean that off, and because you gotta get inside the frame there in order to get at it. So they're well on their way. These braces here are where the tank would hang for the air system, and as you can see, a piece of it is missing, because like on the 1225 over here, oops, sorry, got you in the light there, you got these brackets here that hold them up. So a similar thing would be on the 76. And of course, these brackets here are for the running boards, and they're kind of out there because, of course, there would be a jacket on the boiler so they wouldn't look like they were hanging out so far. Of course, the cab goes on this end with the firebox, and this is a keyhole firebox, so it goes in between the drivers. And part of the problem is this thing has a cracked frame on it, so we're going to have to do some work to that to get mended again. And while that happened, because the frame was cracked, the drivers here kind of rubbed up against the stables on here. But that's okay, because once we get into place, we won't have that problem anymore. And all these stables, most of these stables actually, not all of them I don't think, will have to be replaced, because the person who did them last time didn't do as good of a job at what they should have been doing. So don't worry about that. We're cleaning them off for now, so that way we can inspect it again. See, we got a plate in here that has a questionable weld on it. But yeah, that should be it should be taken care of quite soon. As you can see, there's 3 studs in it, so it shouldn't be too bad. I mean, probably have to replace the studs anyhow. But on this end, they're starting to clean this end now and Getting back to the studs where the firebox door are, and they've cleaned all around them. And some of the flexible stay bolts caps have been taken off, and some of the bolts have been removed. As you can see in these ones down here, these ones still have the bolts in them, and these ones over here are still capped. So if you'll refer to the 1225 rebuild videos, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Just what kind of trouble goes into them. On this side it's kind of dark, but it's a lot rustier and a lot more grime. They haven't got as much done on it. So they'll probably have to turn the engine around, because this area in here is kind of flooded, because the ground is still frozen in places, so the water isn't going down as well. So we got to get this cleaned up. We've been trying to move all the crap around to get out of the way, so hopefully it doesn't get waterlogged. But we got a pallet over here left over from the last fire up at the 1225. I'm probably going to use it for the next one. Got to start a new pile. 1225 is getting worked on the cab, so yeah, that's basically what's going on with the 76. Still got to take off the turret valve and the oiler. It's not automatic, it's manual. So unlike 1225, which is gravity fed automatic oiling system. And we see here the bearings on here have to be taken apart still. And actually this one down here, this one has been taken off and looked at and cleaned. This whole rod here. So it's coming along. As you can see, it's much shinier. And it's all got all the grime polished off it. And there's still a few nicks in it here that need to be taken care of. This one here is the one they're having trouble with getting apart. So yeah, they're gonna have to take the whole crank off on here. So far, he's got some of the white off the tires, and those will be left alone, hopefully. As you can see, like with the 1225, everything is marked on here with the engine's number, and that way you don't miss anything. Of course, if you've got the same kind of engine, you can just swap parts off. 1225's got parts from some of its sisters on there, and you can refer to one of my other videos on there where I talk about 1223 and just exactly which parts are on there. Some people say there's a lot of parts that we stole off of 1223 to put on 1225, but that's not necessarily true. The only parts that are really on here for 1223 are the safety valves, because they were in better shape. But those can be made a lot easier than some of the other parts on the engine can be. As with any engine like this one, we're going to have to go find some more parts for it. But a lot of the parts are stored in a boxcar here on site. So this is the first real rebuild update on the 76. And before I go, let me show you up here just at what they're looking at here. Yeah, so basically this is where the smoke box would be, the front end of the engine here, and it would sit on here and go all the way around here, and the smokestack would go up like that. And of course these pipes here would connect to some branch pipes. The dry pipe's in there, I'll show you that in a moment, but they would branch off here and into the cylinders like so through the smoke box at the bottom. And the nozzle will be attached right here. This plate is covering up, see, just like on the 1225 it's split off. That comes from those cylinders and that one comes from cylinders on that side. And looking into the boiler through the tubes, you can see down in there quite a ways. But I'm going to get a flashlight for you and show you anyway. There we go. There's the dry pipe right there coming from the steam dome on top. And as you can see, it still needs a lot of work in there. But the main thing is to get it cleaned up so it maybe has to sit outside part of the summer. We move some stuff in here and that's all done. So the main thing is this in here will be done later on. Probably needs to be sandblasted too. As you can see over here, there's corrosion in this area that needs to be gotten rid of. Here's the inlet for the injector for the water. There's one on this side too. So that's what we're looking at. And like I said, because these holes are bigger, this signifies that it was a superheated steam locomotive. See, the tubes would stick down from the header here and collect the steam that was condensing and pull them back through the tubes and back into the boiler, where the steam is reheated and goes back up the other tube back into the header on the throttle. So it gets reused, just like the 1225, only on a smaller scale. And now I'm going to climb down. I'll show you the tender and what work needs to be done on that. Now the tender, I remember last year I took you out here and showed you it. Still sitting in here amongst some of the weeds that we got growing up around our equipment that we can't seem to just kill off. But hopefully now that we're having the expo and we're going to get this place all cleaned up, it's going to not be like this again. So we'll have it all cleaned up at that time, and maybe we'll move the tender and get that, have some sort of showpiece. You want to have that sandblasted too, but for right now the body is sitting up off the frame on it. That was so it could be inspected and see what we need to replace on it. And if you refer to my videos on the Huckleberry Railroad with the 152 updates, remember that it's got a tender similar to this, except it's narrow gauge, where it's flat across the top, lower profile than the engine is itself. But the thing is, with this one, it's got an extension up here for the coal bunker, and you can see in here just how far up it extends. But yeah, it's they extend on the sides too. So this is an extended bunker type tender, and not as much needs to be replaced in there as would say on the 152 over at Crossroads Village. But I'm going to digress with that at this point and say that's what's going on. So really what we need to do is sandblast and check for any repairs that need to be done. So, and at that point the frame will have the same thing done to it, and then it will be lowered down onto that, and actually it will probably be primered first before it's lowered down onto the frame, and then bolted back on and welded in spots. Coming out this way, we got some of our stuff out here being worked on. It's been sitting out. As you remember, the container for the miniature trains was moved out here, and we're having new area put in for them. That's the new transfer table for the 7.5 inch gauge railroad, and it's also a crane to it's a lift bridge really / transfer table, and I'll be able to lift the trains out of the trucks that are carrying them and put them on the table, and also lift steam locomotives onto the steam service tracks. They'll be up there too. I think they'll be up here on this side of the pad though. And we're going to have the track lead in there from the trees to the table itself. So that gives us more room to put things when we do the expo, as well as future events as well. As you can see back here, some of the tracks were stacked in a way, but kind of fell over, so anything that needs to be repaired will be repaired. Got some other stuff over here, like if you referred to the videos that I showed before, you'll see that. But yeah, here's the back of the tender, and some things to take care of on here. You need to put another knuckle back into the coupler itself, and use new air hose. Probably need to redo the air lines on it now that's been sitting out here for a while. But stuff like that, you can kind of see on the side here, based on the shadows, what needs to be taken care of based on where it's rusting. Questionable because where it's rusting, if there might be holes in there. I climb up here on the end and give you a sense of what needs to be done. This plating is only here for a little walk area. This should be up here to meet in with that, so that's off too. Coming up on the back, and basically it's a flat top like this until you get to the bunker itself, and you can see down through the floor there because that was removed. because that was partially corroded. That's the only part that will need to be replaced, so far as we know. And then this is how you would get to the locomotive from the tender, is through this walk area here, and then climb on down. Whereas on the 1225, where it's got a much bigger bunker, you actually have to climb through the bunker into the cab. Not sure what I'm going to see inside the tank. If there's a nest, I'll edit that out. Okay. Well, not too bad actually. Yeah. If I had enough time, I'd go in there and show you, but you can see the baffle walls here, and so it's actually got to be harder to climb in there than it would be in 1225, or even the auxiliary tender that we got out here. So that's basically what you see inside here. It's not too bad. We're going to have to clean it though and primer it just like we gotta do with 1225's tender. That's what we got. That's the tender overview so far. Now I'm going to go show you the cab, and that'll be the last of this update. Now I'm going to say again, here's the cab of the 76, as if you've forgotten from last summer's video of the engine. But yeah, again, nothing has really changed on it. But in the next few weeks here, hopefully that will be false, because they've been working on the sandblaster and they hope to move it over here to have it sandblasted. So that way they can get it painted up and looking good, and hopefully find, well, they need to make any repairs to it. They have to. As you can see, all the holes up there are screw holes, or in this case rivet holes for bolts, and that will have held on to the wood planking for the inside, for the interior of the cab. I believe these sheets here, like I might have mentioned in the last video, were new pieces that were put on. I believe either when it got here or just before it did, when they were working on it at Ohio Central. That might have been the only thing they got done with it, was replacing these sides here. So they might be in good shape, and with the nice sandblasting, it should be looking pretty good. This piece here in the window is looking kind of questionable, especially compared to this one, which isn't bent, that, or at least not that much. But I think it'll make a nice project for those kids to do. Of course, that doesn't mean the rest of us are banned from it. Well, there's a bunch of us helping them, and I'm hoping that we can do good and get it done within 5 years. Although their fundraising capabilities are kind of ingenious in a way. Right now, the plan is to fix up the cab and have it ready for Train Expo in June. So if you want to see some finished parts of this locomotive, come on out to that, as well as all the other engines and train cars that are going to be here at the festival. And this Train Expo thing is a big event here in Owasso, not just for trains, but they're going to have the airport is going to have an air show, and it's going to have a bunch of World War II fighter planes and bombers. They're going to have an exhibit on the Red Tails, and also, if you're a car enthusiast, down by Baker College, they're going to have the antique car show, and they're going to have, which is down that way, and then way out on the west, past the west side of town at the Owasso Speedway, they're going to have kart racing. Well, not kart racing. They're going to have, well, it's like mini Formula 1 racers, like you see on TV. But this will be for the Must See Racing Network, so you'll be able to see it on TV the nights that it happens. So this is going to be a big event here in Owasso. We're going to try and fix up some of these cars back here too. Some of them will be on display. This car probably will be on display. I think we're going to try and get the crane completely redone. We got a new piece for it, new hook piece to go on it, so that way it'll be more operational. And thank you to the guys over at the Huckleberry Railroad for trading that to us. And like I said, we traded it for a potbelly stove. that they're, well, wood burning stove, a coal burning stove, excuse me, that they're going to use. I'm not sure what they're going to use it for, but we'll see what happens. And he traded us a nice hook piece for that crane there, because they no longer have one. We're going to try and get these tools, these pieces of equipment off the flat cars as soon as possible, and this whole area hopefully will be raised up a bit to work on. You gotta move these trucks out of here. This one butted up against my box car here. This side's gonna be redone just like this other side here that I've been working on in the red paint here. You'll refer to my freight car repaint video. So here it is here. I did not get to the door, and it's actually still where I stopped last time because this piece would not come off. I'm going to try and wire wheel it off now and just re-put the primer on there and then paint the red in a couple of coats. So it will look good for the train expo if they use this car. I'm hoping they will, but I'm not going to get my hopes up. So I'm going to be doing this in the next 3 or 4 weeks here. I got to find the right kind of time. Everything's going to be redone on it, just like I said in the last video. Not sure what we're going to do about these cars here. They're probably going to be taken down to the other yard and stored there until after the festival. So a lot of stuff going on, and yeah, the main thing is the 76 over here. The cab is going to be redone, and a little bit further out here. Yeah, we don't know what we're going to paint it. Most likely black, of course. We don't know what we're going to paint on the sides, though. Maybe 76, maybe Mississippian on one side and 76 on the other. Maybe Mississippian or Penview Mountain or Frisco, something like that. We'll see. It's all up to the group to decide what they're going to do with that. But right now, I guess they're going to be selling stuff out of it. I'll try to make another update before the expo to tell you what's going on, but hopefully by that time they'll be done with the cab and ready to move on again with the boiler, maybe move it outside so it can be displayed out there for the time being. Okay, so from Owasso, 76 update, number 1 complete.